I was born with blindness, and I'm going to show you the story about how I climbed Japan's tallest mountain. Now, you might be wondering, what is a blind guy doing traveling all the way to Japan?
We made it. We're in Asia, we are in Japan.
Or maybe that thought never even crossed your mind, because I'm a person and I like to travel. But according to my TikTok comments, some people I guess have wondered that.
But tomorrow's the day, finally. If weather and everything is just gonna work out for us. Hopefully. Been waiting for this for a while. 3 reschedules and been waiting to do this since I was honestly a kid.
To prove that there's more to travel than just the sightseeing, my 10-episode travel documentary series that is a CuriosityStream original is now available to watch on CuriosityStream. It's called Blind Spots. It was created, directed, and hosted by yours truly, and I'm super excited about this. This is literally a childhood dream come true, and it's finally a thing. It's out, and you can now watch it. In fact, me climbing Japan's tallest mountain actually takes place after the series, so consider this the continuation of that adventure. Throughout the series while traveling, I'm taking on new experiences. And a lot of this is preparation for my ultimate goal, which was to climb Mount Fuji. My visit to Japan is our 2-part finale. And while there, I meet up with some amazing people, including currently Hannah, who is a YouTuber that lives in Japan and focuses on travel-related videos. But I also spoke with locals who are blind. Mariko is a breakdancer who performed during the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics closing ceremony. And then there's Yuka, who has a resourceful YouTube channel for people who are Japanese speaking when it comes to vision loss and her experiences with that. During my time in Japan, I truly prepped for this climb. For example, on the show, Hannah and I visit a natural disaster safety center where we experience simulations of natural disasters and get the safety training necessary if we find ourselves in that kind of scenario, which not long after I did on the 10th story of my hotel.
Alarms are going off from my phone and everything starts shaking.
That was quite the shock. Now, what's important to note is I was climbing Mount Fuji during the off-season.
After a rejuvenating soak in the capsule's hotel onsen, and a comforting bowl of late-night ramen, my nerves were still on edge. 5 a.m. arrived all too quickly, and shortly after came Quinn from the YouTube channel Go North Japan. In partnership with Kanto Adventures, he was set to be my guide. Our mission, to navigate Japan's tallest mountain during its most challenging season, complete with rock falls and unpredictable weather. This was the promise I made to my 11-year-old self, merging this digital adventure into the real-world challenge. Here I go. As we drove out of Tokyo, the weight of the day ahead began to truly sink in.
Came to Starbucks a little too early, apparently, for Japan.
Most would be concerned about facing such a day with no sleep. But I'll be honest, some of my most memorable moments have happened under similar circumstances. And somehow, that gave me a strange sense of comfort. But it was probably just the caffeine jitters.
Okay.
You got a family mart?
Let's stop at this family mart over here.
Cool.
Now you might be wondering, why Mount Fuji? Why is that the hike you've been wanting to do since you were a kid? Well, frankly, it's because of the franchise Pokémon. You don't need to like nor follow Pokémon to enjoy this story, but what you should know is that Pokémon's regions in their games that are all about embarking on a journey, leaving home and traveling the world, sport, as well as friendship. What you just need to appreciate about that is that these games are based on real-world locations and cultures. So during my adventures in Japan, I was playing through Pokemon Gold again, as sort of a nostalgic trip back to my childhood. And as a love letter to my childhood, I set off to finish Pokemon Gold version, the final battle that takes place in the in-game equivalent of Mount Fuji, on the mountain itself. And that whole story, from pixels to peaks, is told within a bigger documentary that I have available on my YouTube channel. If you want the link to that, if you want to see the full adventure, there you go. Without any further ado, here's what it was like to climb Mount Fuji with blindness.
The trail that we're doing is
Fujinomiya, it's called.
Oh, okay.
Fuji, and then no, like the possessive, and Miya, like I guess cats.
No Miya
is one weird way of interpreting it.
Fujinomiya. Okay, cool.
But pulling up to the 5th station of Mount Fuji. From here, no more vehicles. It's just you, your belongings, and your ability to walk or crawl. And of course, sunscreen. This albino does not have enough melanin for how close to the sun I'll be getting.
Now, of course, if you want to climb Mount Fuji, especially during the off-season, do it at your own risk, and make sure you have a proper guide.
It was go time.
Perfect. And now the first like 15 minutes is kind of like, up this gravel, and then it'll be a little less steep. So, this is James.
All right, we're here It's finally happening. I was afraid this day would not come with all the bad weather, but we made it.
Now remember, Mount Fuji is usually a bustling hiking hotspot from July to September. But here, we are in mid-May, way ahead of the recommended hiking season.
There's some rocks here. This is just going to be kind of annoying to go up this the first little bit. There's a little rock there.
But hey, I'm Trainer Rath with 16 badges and Professor Oak's nod of approval. We're gonna do this. Okay, that was a little bit cheesy, but...
To be honest, the gravel's slippery too.
Yeah, this way I can just feel for where that is and then make my way kind of around it or make that call as I get closer.
Now you may be wondering, how's a visually impaired guy like me gonna navigate this? Well, Quinn, despite being a pro at guiding, has never really guided someone with blindness before. But he could have fooled me, because honestly, he was still a champ. He was my eyes, giving detailed descriptions, pointing out rocks, and guiding me verbally. Plus, I had my white cane. It's like my personal ground radar, sending tactile vibes up to my hand, helping me to gauge the terrain, even though everything in my sight is overly exposed, shaking, and blurry. The ominous fog set a tense mood of uncertainty as we hiked far and wide up these tall, zigzagging slopes. You could occasionally hear a voice or a sound in the distance, and I wanted to believe it was just a fellow hiker or an animal. One that is no more than a quarter my size, of course, but the atmosphere really makes you second guess yourself. Or maybe that's just the altitude sickness starting to kick in. Quinn, being the seasoned hiker that he is, he seemed to have this turbo mode. There were moments where I thought I might be misplacing my hiker on the mountain. Not really the most ideal thing for a blind guy. But it was mainly for him checking the surrounding areas ahead of time and being sure that he can navigate me through all these different rock slides. As I hustled the best I could to keep up, my feet weren't the most thrilled. Due to a last-minute boot swap, I ended up with a pair that were a smidge too tight, and the result? Blisters on both backs of my heels. But hey, no pain, no gain, right? Making our way to the 6th station, we crossed paths with some local hikers. Now for me, this was a monumental journey, years in the making. But for them, well, for some of them it was just another day's hike. It's funny how one person's epic quest is just another person's morning routine. And just when I was considering shedding some weight from my pack, looking at you, pesky helmet, I stumbled upon a sign. Using the zoom capabilities of my phone and some text-to-speech, it read,
"Caution, falling rocks."
Alright, yep, helmet, you win this round. Reaching a height where the clouds were beneath us was indescribable. I took a moment and a deep breath. And I just let it all sink in.
Made it to the 6th station. Quite a few more to go.
Mount Fuji, I'm here. And I'm ready. Even if I can't see all of you.
We just reached the 6th station here, and this is where it gets interesting. This is a much rockier path with wooden steps and rocks, and so there's gonna be more obstacles that we're both gonna have to take care of.
But here's the thing. Summiting on the first go, especially off-season, was always a lofty goal. The real aim was to climb as high as possible, feel the wind in my face, and play Pokemon Gold's final showdown above the world.
Wait, a little bit farther ahead. There you go. Good. There.
Quinn and I briefly bonded, these two young men who were hiking up the mountain at a similar pace.
How do you feel?
Accomplished. Good so far.
Nice work.
Arigato gozaimasu.
We managed to reach the 7th station, and although they called for clear conditions on the mountains,
Maybe it's a light hail.
as we predicted, it's unpredictable. Now that I can actually review the footage, yeah, that's snow.
How high up are we?
We're just below 3,000 meters. We're at like 2,970-ish.
What's that in feet?
Oh God, I have no idea. I'm gonna have to ask Google.
That's about 9,700 feet for all my niche American viewers.
Still on our way to 8th station. 8th. Eating. Think about food right now. Heart's racing. a lot. But we're so at this. Let's catch my breath real quick. Okay.
Though it is slow progress, he's doing a fantastic job, given that he's got, 5 to 10% of the vision that I have. And so he's got to feel ahead of him, even with me directing some of the time on what way to go. He's also still got to feel the height of each step that he's taken.
Yeah.
It's not really a place to sit or rest. You can just We have a choice here. We're at the new 7th station, or the higher of the 7th stations. The conditions aren't great. Probably not going to go to the summit, but if we can get to the 8th station, that's 10,000 feet, which kind of feels like a victory to me. What do you think?
In the original Pokemon Gold and Silver games, our final opponent waits for us deep within Mount Silver. Not quite at the summit like in the remakes that came out a decade later in 2009. So as I mentioned before, I was content with not summiting, but rather going as far as I possibly can in order to see, hear this climb through.
All right, so this is still 7th station, right?
Yeah, there's like 2 7th. There's like the new and the old.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. I'll show you on the map.
As we got higher, we began running into even more fellow hikers.
1042去年で。
なんで富士山こんなに登りますか?
My bad friend call me Chatbox. 実川さん、名人。
Yeah, so he knows Mr. Fuji. His name is Jitsukawa, the guy who's hiked Mount Fuji more than 2,000 times, but he's already over 1,000. So this is one of the holy trinity of Mount Fuji, him and another guy. So Saito-san, one of the famous hikers of Mount Fuji.
私はジェームスさん。
James. So easy to remember. Yeah. James.
As I persevered through these conditions, I still remained grateful to be here. Before this trip, I had actually watched a few travel content creators like Currently Hannah and Quinn from Go North Japan. And to be able to work alongside the talent that is Currently Hannah on my travel show to document the beautiful and surprisingly accessible country that is Japan, well, that was an absolute blast. And of course today, as I'm reaching new heights in my life, to be guided by someone so patient, knowledgeable, and compassionate as Quinn, well, that was more than I could have asked for. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank Hannah for the time spent while filming my show, and of course here on this mountain with Quinn, who's helping to achieve a childhood dream. It's people like them that motivate me to be the very best version of myself, like no one ever was. Sorry.
Curious to know just how active is Mount Fuji, and Mount Fuji is classified as an active volcano. It's a stratovolcano, as are most in Japan. And the most recent eruption was in 1706, I believe, to 1707, about thereabouts. And that was not out of the top, but rather out of this southeastern side. And it formed a crater, which we can't see right now because of all these clouds. But I believe it's called Mount Hoei, is the what they gave to this extra little dollop that came out with that. And if it erupts again soon-ish, which, who knows, it may, though there's no real signs of it in the very, very short term, but they're saying it's likely to go off the west side, the other side of the mountain from what we're hiking it now. This is the Fujinomiya trailhead, and we're hiking up from the southeast.
It's a big step. You don't need to take that big a step. Yeah, you can go from there. Yeah. Good. And then once you're on this level, come straight across towards me, and we'll walk right up here.
It's what I dreamed of as a kid. It's what I dreamed of every night. Running for miles with no end in sight. People say that's all it is, a dream.
It's been pretty steady rain. Wasn't in the forecast, but with mountains you can never tell.
I'm breaking ground horizons now, so bright. And it appeared after running, after they said I shouldn't try.
How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good.
But I landed right where I need to. Oh, so high. You can hold me down, but I won't stop. Gonna push myself right to the top, and nothing's ever gonna drag me down. I'm on my way. As I go, you can follow. I know the steps to lead me home. So here I go.
I just passed a guy who said that at the 9th station, from there it's blue skies.
I'm reveling in this view, and there's something inside of you, that's waiting for you to follow where it's guiding you. Those dreams that you buried down, bring it all out. So you can hold me down, but I won't stop. Gonna push myself right to the top, and nothing's ever gonna drag me down. I'm on my way. As I go, you can follow. I know the steps to lead me home. So here I go. Here I go.
All right. This is it. We're at the level of the 8th station, 10,000 feet.
What a morning.
Welcome to Japan.
A GameBoy!
You got one.
Yeah. What color? A yellow one. I think it is. I can see.
This was it. At 1 p.m., we made it to the 8th station. The time that we have here is limited so that we can descend safely before dusk. Without any further ado, I pulled out the 3DS with Pokémon Gold, and I booted up from where I left off. As I walk into the deepest accessible part of Mount Silver, there stands Trainer Red. Red's Pokémon are nearly 20 to 30 levels ahead of ours. But we've come this far, and there's no way I was backing from this now. As I initiated the battle with Trainer Red, I anticipated having a hard time seeing the screen due to the sunlight and glare. However, I didn't account for my phone's camera being unable to capture the battle.
Estados Unidos.
But then, a miracle happened.
Oh, hello again, you two. I thought you were ahead of us.
A couple of youthful hikers that we had met at the start of our hike had actually made it up to the 8th station. They were intrigued by me playing Pokemon Gold, 10,000 feet high.
Can I see your Pokemon? Sure. Oh, Kairu.
And when they realized I was going up against Trainer Red,
Oh, yeah. Can you win?
I'm gonna try.
they already understood the challenge I was facing. While they were spectating the early turns of this match, they tried assisting by holding my phone and shielding my not-so-water-resistant 3DS from the sudden snow flurries. But then, the best possible scenario occurred. These hikers were here to set up camp for the evening. They had intended to spend the night on the mountain to catch the sunrise at the summit, and they had access to the emergency hut here on the 8th station. The Japanese hiker offered the space in the hut for better visibility and to stay dry. I gladly accepted, but in order to capture this battle successfully from start to finish, I resetted the game and I initiated the battle one last time. This was the final battle, spanning both Mount Silver and Mount Fuji.
Final battle.
Final battle?
Yeah.
Oh, I know, red. Red, I know. Oh,
Red sends out his Pikachu, as we, as Rath, send out our very own electric type, Ryan the Raikou. Ryan uses Flash to lower Pikachu's accuracy, while Red's Pikachu uses Thunder, chipping not very effective damage onto Raikou. Predicting another Thunder, Ryan is swapped for Sandals to absorb the Thunder attack. Pikachu uses Quick Attack, but Sandals attacks back with Earthquake, doing enough damage to take Pikachu down in one hit. Red sends out Venusaur, and meanwhile, we swap out Sandals for Lapala, the Lapras. Lapala uses Icy Wind, but instead it's a Deja Vu because the attack misses, expecting the Solar Beam. Draylon the Dragonite is sent out to tank the hit. Oh, did I forget to mention that Draylon evolved into Dragonite? Yeah, that happened during some of our training. Alright, back to the battle. While Venusaur is setting up a sunny day, Draylon lands a risky Zap Cannon, causing Venusaur to become paralyzed. Using a super effective fly, Draylon manages to take down Venusaur after just a few turns. Red sends out Blastoise, and I manage to swap out Ryan. The Raikou uses Flash to lower Blastoise accuracy, but it still manages to land a Surf Attack. Raikou barely holds on, and with very little health remaining, expecting Red to be holding onto a few full restores, I decide to heal up Ryan with a Raikou, using a full restore myself. I recall in the past Red using full restores, so I'm pretty certain he has them. But during this battle, surprisingly enough, he didn't use it. Maybe it just didn't get triggered from his programming based on how much health his Pokemon had, but I wanted to play fair. Raikou strikes with a couple Spark Attacks, leaving the Blastoise paralyzed. Now, I end up swapping Ryan for Victoria the Victory Bell. It manages to tank a Surf from Blastoise, and it gets off a strong Giga Drain, but it's just not enough to KO the Blastoise. This thing is tanky. Victoria is then struck with a super effective Blizzard, causing it to be the first of my team to go down. So we send out Ryan the Raikou again. Blastoise tries setting up another Rain Dance, but that gives us the opening to finish off the Water type with one last Spark Attack. Red is about to send out his very own Espeon. Up against Ryan, it's almost like Ryan and Evan have some kind of spiritual battling happening for that final slot on the team. Ryan uses Flash on Red's Espeon, while it sets up a Reflect, protecting his team from all my physical attacks for at least 5 turns. Espeon strikes with a powerful Psychic Attack. Meanwhile, Raikou tries to get off another Flash to lower its accuracy. That enables Espeon's next move to miss, while Ryan lands a critical hit. Due to Flash, Espeon continues missing attacks, and Ryan just keeps landing Spark after Spark. But just before the Espeon's about to go down, it lands a Psychic on Raikou, knocking it out. In a way, it feels like Evan got revenge. Huh. So we send in Lapala the Lapras, and we exchange powerful blows between Psychic and Ice Beam. Lapala knocks out Espeon, but at the cost of nearly 1/4 of our health remaining. Red sends out his powerful Snorlax. This is not the kind of Pokemon to underestimate. Lapala attempts to corner Red with Perish Song, limiting the remaining turns for Snorlax down to 3. Snorlax lands a strong Body Slam, knocking out Lapras. We follow up by sending out Sandals the Sandslash, and we start using Rollout. It does little damage, but over time it builds and gets stronger with each turn. Red Snorlax buffs its special defense stat with Amnesia. Let's just hope that Amnesia extends to him forgetting that Perish Song is still active. Rollout continues, but Snorlax lands a strong Body Slam on Sandals, resulting in a paralysis, as our Sandslash is now slower. Knowing that Perish Song is about to take Snorlax out, Red decides to swap it out for his Charizard. But luckily for us, Sandals doesn't get paralyzed this turn, and it manages to land a monumental Rollout onto the Charizard. Sandals lands a one-hit KO. Now, down to his last Pokemon, Red sends out Snorlax once more. Perish Song is no longer active. We still have 3 Pokemon remaining, but the thing to keep in mind is that his Snorlax, ironically enough, is going to outspeed our Sandals, and he ends up KOing us with a Body Slam. So we send out our second to last Pokemon, Draylon the Dragonite, once again who lands another risky Zap Cannon, and now the tables have turned, causing Snorlax to become paralyzed. Draylon flies up, dodging Snorlax's attack, and comes back down, critically hitting with a Fly Attack. Unfortunately, it's not enough to take out the bulky Snorlax, and it manages to land a Body Slam, knocking out Draylon. I'm down to my last Pokemon, my very first Pokemon. Tony Fuji, the Totodile, the one that never evolved, yet remains the highest level on the team, and yet still an entire 15 levels below the opposing Snorlax. With Snorlax paralyzed and at low HP, Totodile tries to land a Dynamic Punch, but it misses. Snorlax lands a Body Slam, leaving Tony Fuji at low HP, and only one chance left to land a hit with a 50-50 chance. I call for Tony Fuji to try one more Dynamic Punch, and
Yes!
it connects. Snorlax, outsped by Totodile, goes down to a super effective Dynamic Punch. and we win. Red loses. We couldn't stay up here forever, but in that moment of accomplishment, it was as if time stood still.
We did it. We're up here on Mount Fuji. We just beat Red. Yes. Alright. Time to descend.
Now that we've reached the highest point and are on our way down, it is a blue sky. We've gotten this great glimpse of blue sky.
Appreciate these guys letting us use their emergency hut, because frankly, the weather or the light is not ideal up here. Thank you. We beat Red on Mount Fuji. It's been a childhood dream.
As we bid farewell to our new friends on the 8th station, it was time to begin our descent.
All right. Now it's time for the hard part.
And now, with a lack of depth perception and about 5% of vision, I must say, this descent might as well have been the real challenge, but it also gave me a moment to reflect on why I embarked on this incredible journey. Born with a severe visual impairment, doctors had cautioned me that anything too visual or physically demanding might not be possible for me.
That's to make the screen on your game bigger. I don't think so.
However, Pokémon, from as early as I can remember, served as a constant source of motivation for adventure. These games were designed in a way that provided me with accessibility into the world of video games. Growing up with these games has not only brought countless friendships and cherished memories, but it's also ignited my dreams and motivated me to reach new heights. Literally. And now here I am, still living with blindness, but also I'm a filmmaker, content creator, host of my very own travel show. And I'm eager to take on new challenges, and I'm actively working in the gaming industry to make video games more accessible for individuals like myself. I'm proud of my unique perspective, and it has taught me the importance of empathy and understanding for others. This adventure may have come to a close, but whether it's in the game or out here, I'm still a trainer in life, and for every moment I have on this earth, I'll continue to train myself to be better than I was yesterday.
So you can hold me down, but I won't stop. Gonna push myself right to the top, and nothing's ever gonna drag me down. I'm on my way. As I go, you can follow. I know the steps to lead me home. So here I go. Here I go. You can follow. Here I go.
As I look back at Mount Fuji, there is still a summit to reach. And there happens to be a remake of Gold and Silver with as much heart and soul as the originals, as the journey continues.
Thanks for watching. I hope you could see different today. I'll hear you next time.